Hello, and welcome to a Babel KR patch notes video for Elsword. This patch notes was for November the 21st over in KR, and let's check out the pretty substantial news that's going to be coming to all the other servers pretty soon. Alright, so the first update is the party search system has returned and has, well, returned in its former iteration, but it now can be accessed through the menu via menu community party. Added a quick icon to check character stats in the party's list, and can use more text and party search. Before 10 characters, now 30 characters. So I'm assuming this is going to work more like the FF14 Duty Finder, where you could have more information about your party before you start your dungeons or whatever you're about to do that involves you having to queue or be with the party, which is nice. It's also probably going to help people with their communication overall, like wanting to have more of a stake in communicating with your party members, as a lot of people just tend to be silent during dungeon runs, unless something extraordinary happens or somebody says a greeting of some kind or asking for another run or anything like that. So yeah, we'll see how this works out. It should play out interesting, if anything else, but I hope that it promotes more community communication going forward. Alright, so the main thing though, the dungeon content changes. I should also go over what happened, I think, last week with the Elsword changes as well, but this is pretty huge. Maximum number of players allowed in the Gate of Darkness has changed to 8. So you can now just go into the Gate of Darkness with your raid party instead of having to break it up every time and then reassembling the party, kind of wasting your Gate of Darkness buff, which is kind of lame. They finally changed it. Quality of life change that I'm sure everybody can agree with. Alright, now you can queue for 4+ player content with regular parties. I don't know if this means that you don't have to make raid parties anymore, because it says 4+ player content, so I wish we could get more, the wording was clear on that. 3 is start with current members button added to Elder through Elder Dungeons. I don't know why they took that away, but now you can solo if you want to grind for titles or accessories or anything like that. Bug where the Demon Realm buff did not decrease maximize portion of decreased damage effect has been fixed. Therefore, the difficulty of the Demon Realm dungeons have been adjusted accordingly. I don't know that if this means up or down, but I am assuming that this means that the difficulty has increased. Demon Realm Rigomor dungeon CP and difficulty has been adjusted. So, previously, 13.1, 13.2, 13.3, 13.4, 13.5 all had ridiculous CP requirements that were basically, how do I put this? New players looking to progressively, at a decent rate, move from one area to the game to the last, aka a new player trying to get to endgame. It was basically insurmountable in order to actually complete, much less just enter these endgame dungeons. You're basically inaccessible to new players who were just trying to get from one end of the game to the other end of the game, because the CP requirements were so astronomically high for no real reason. It's just, the CP system in general, might make a video on this, is just dumb in the way that it has been implemented. It's really bad for several reasons. One being that the CP limits and the gates are just so high for endgame for absolutely no reason. I guess the best example of this would be the first dungeon in Varnamir, 12.1, is actually fundamentally easier to complete than, I would argue, any content from Elsword itself. So the very first dungeon in Varnamir has a ridiculously high CP limit to get into it, but functionally it is easier to complete than anything from the previous area. It's kind of ridiculous. So yeah, difficulty has been adjusted. I will show you the actual changes on screen. But yeah, so this is a godsend now that people can actually enter 13.1. For anybody watching this video, if you want me to go over how to increase your CP so that you can do these dungeons with the gear that they've given you access to, like just for free to play or just generally playing the game, you don't want to invest too much of your money into it, anything like that, just let me know. I'll make a video on how to increase your CP. But yeah, now people have access to Rigomor, finally, at least the first dungeon. That's more than reasonable with like a +9 SD or void weapon, which is changing as we look down below. Change 6, more glaciums can now be obtained in Rigomor dungeons. Just nice. Unfortunately, that means for the plate people just now having access to Rigomor, you're not going to be making that much money off of selling glaciums, but buying glaciums so that you can actually make your Rigomor set, it's going to be much easier. Rigomor dungeon daily quests have been changed from 3 to 5. That's just quality of life change. It just makes it easier to obtain. Conditions for the vote kick system have been changed, but the details have not been disclosed due to people possibly coming up with, like, I don't know, scripts or something like that to abuse it. And 9, HP decreases faster if character does not move to the next stage area after the stage has been cleared. So a portion of the stage, after you've cleared it, you have to get to the other side of the room, and then the other side of the stage will unlock. If you don't get to it fast enough, your HP starts to decrease. It decreases faster, and if you have an ability, if you have the force skill Eroding Energy, when you're not in combat, your HP will go down and your MP will go up, so that will only increase the amount of, or I guess decrease the amount of time that you have to get to the end. So if you're, you know, not moving fast enough, or something came up, like someone called you away, you gotta go grab food off the stove, or I don't know, whatever you have, mail just came, you want to play a game with yourself where you run as fast as you can to get the thing done and then come back and then run to the end of the dungeon, that's gonna be less, I don't know, it's gonna be harder to do now. I don't know how much faster it's gonna decrease, but ooh, I don't know. It's also gonna help people who are like running out of Awakening or whatever buffs that they have, and you're like wasting their time. Now it's gonna be better? Question mark? I don't know how much it's gonna decrease by, but that's what they said that they're gonna change. Alright, quest changes. Amount of dungeon clears required for class advanced quests and skill unlock quests have been changed. Don't know if it's better or worse. I can only hope that it's better, because one of the quest changes that they changed not too long ago was getting rid of, what's the Hamel? The Hamel dungeon that has the two water serpent bosses. Can't think of what it is. It's like water, not water dragon. Water dragon sanctum is the El Rito place. I can't think of what it is. But yeah, they changed that because you would get double boss reward drops from that dungeon. And I'm like, why would you remove that from the rotation? It just makes it easier. But yeah, let's just hope that they stop doing things like that and just make it easier for people to just get through it. It's hard enough getting third job as it is. Alright, epic quest for Ad Dungeon. Added at level 90. Can obtain a +9 void weapon amulet by clearing the Ad Dungeon 50 times. Once per account. Not per character, per account. So you can only do it once. So choose the character you want to get this +9 on wisely. This is amazing. They need to continue doing things like this. I'm still super upset that they got rid of the heroic equipment in general, as its new replacement, in quotation marks, SD gear is just not up to snuff. From a base power standpoint, SD is not that far behind heroics. It's like R27, like rank 27 tier power, but it's missing the really nice effects like ASD on the gloves, mana cooldown reduction, or MP cost reduction, and skill cooldown reduction and attack polarize on the top piece, and the what's the bottom piece? The party skills, party buffs for stats like crit maxi and character physical magical attack power increase. Party wide on the bottom piece. It's just not a good. It's not a good change for the progression system, I guess. I mean, it's manageable because they're just trying to funnel you even harder into mandatory Elria node gear, which is kind of lame. If Elria node was just bank shareable, it wouldn't be as bad. But since it's not, you have to build a piece. If you like to play a lot of alt characters, you have to build an individual Elria node suit for every character. It's so obnoxious. With heroics, you could just bank share it all, and it was awesome. You would have to change like maybe 1 or 2 pieces depending on what your setup was, but so yeah, there's that. Overall, this is a really good change. Please add more things like this. A plus 10 epic quest, a plus 11 achievement where you have to run like 1 billion dungeons, anything. Please help people. All right. Going down, I think this is the last change. Materials required for a Sinister Intent accessory crafting has been reduced from 40 to 30. So you needed 40 of the tokens plus 1 book. Now you need 30 tokens plus 1 book. So if you've been stocking up, I would wait until this patch hits NA, and you will get more bang for your buck. I have a couple characters that just have a whole bunch of tokens I was planning on using at some point, but now I'm going to save until this hits. So you would save your tokens for Sinister Intent. You will earn more. Unless you're in dire need of the stats or CP increasing or anything like that. But I would suggest you wait. But this is it. This is pretty good. Pretty good. A portion of Elria node, or a portion of Rigomor, is now accessible by new players, and everybody's getting a free +9 for their void weapons. So yeah, all in all, pretty amazing news, and I wish you all the best. If you, again, like I mentioned before, you want me to go over how to increase your CP or anything that you would like me to explain to help you prepare for this patch that's going to hit very soon, let me know in the comments, and see you all later.